All right, this is my group. Hello. Hi everybody, my name is Teresa Caldwell. I am a senior here at Northern Kentucky, and I am here to teach you ladies how to snag a guy who's been catching your eye. And fellas, listen up, because you can also use some of these tips. There's a possibility that one of the girls has been using these tips on you, and you've missed this girl because you haven't known what to look for. So, the first thing is to love yourself. How do you expect anyone else to like you or love you or anything if you don't feel the same way about yourself? So the first thing is to be comfortable with yourself and love yourself. Second, your appearance. Now, I'm not saying you have to change your look for anybody or do surgery or anything like that. But what I'm saying is take a little extra time when you wake up in the morning. You know, ladies, when you get up in the morning, you do your hair. Take a little extra time on your hair, making sure that it's perfect for you. Because you want to look nice for yourself as well. So you want to make sure your hair looks how you want it to look before you walk out. Also, you want to make sure that you're picking out the right type of clothing. You want to make sure your clothes match first off. You also want to make sure that they fit. They're not too tight, they're not too loose. We're not going for skanky. We're going for presentable. You want to look nice when you meet this guy, or whenever you're going to have a drink with him, or whatever you're going to go do with this guy. You want to make sure that you are presenting yourself in the way that you want to be represented. You don't want to be having everything hanging out and showing everything off. So make sure that you dress to impress. Number 3 would be hygiene. Nobody wants to be around anybody who is funky or who has a bad odor. So most of the time, if you're going to meet a guy, it's more or less like midday or afternoon. So maybe if you feel like you need to freshen up a little bit, do so. You have to take a shower. If you took a shower early that morning, make sure that you wash up 2 or 3 times while you're in the shower. Lather, rinse off. Lather, rinse off. Making sure that your breath is nice. If you have any mints, Tic Tacs, or if you want to brush your teeth before you actually get out there, make sure you wear deodorant. You want to make sure that you smell nice, because guys do smell, they do like to smell us, so you do want to smell somewhat nice. Next thing is conversation. You want to be yourself. People do not like when you don't act yourself, because they feel like you're fake and you're not being real with them. So the first thing you want to make sure that you do is that you always stay true to yourself. You don't want to be anybody else but yourself. However, keeping that in mind, that yes, you want to be yourself, but you also have to keep in mind that this is somebody totally different from you as well. So you want to make sure that when you're having a conversation, that you're talking about things that he likes as well as things that you like. Not to say that you should push aside anything that you're doing or anything that you think about, any ideas or interests that you have. Make sure that you are able to engage him in your conversations based on his interests and your interests. Maybe you guys can find something in common that you guys can talk about and elaborate on. The next thing is to engage him. Like I said, through conversation, you want to make sure that whatever you're talking about, he's into it. A lot of guys like to be doing things while they're having a conversation. They're not into the whole just talking thing. So a good way, if you're going to snag this dude and keep him, is to make sure that you guys are doing outside activities besides just sitting at home watching movies or something. You want to actually, like, if he's interested into basketball, and maybe you are too, you guys can play a little one-on-one and have a little conversation while you guys are doing that. Play a little game or something. So that is definitely a good way to get on his good side. You want to keep him involved and active and, engaged in you. And then the last thing, but the most important thing, is that you want to be patient. You have to be patient. Definitely have to be patient. We, men and women alike, are very complicated. We're not really sure what each other want, and sometimes we're not sure what we want. So this is definitely a big plus if you're very patient with him. He's more understanding and he's more willing to give you his time because he feels like you understand him. So keep that in mind when you're going to try to snag that guy. You want to make sure you love yourself. Your appearance is just right for you and for him. Your hygiene is nice and in balance. Your conversation is about you and about him. And you want to keep him active and involved. And you also want to be patient. So that is how you snag the guy that's been catching your eye. And fellas, you guys can use these tips too to snag that girl that you've been looking at. Maybe not, the exact same thing, but similar things to do to keep that girl or snag that girl. Oh, lovely people again. Hi guys, my name is Tara Caldwell. I am a senior here at Northern Kentucky, and I will be giving you guys a speech on voting in general, but mainly speaking to my women. Not to say that I'm not speaking to you guys as well. It will tie in, okay? So I'm looking around and I see a lot of young people who are starting to vote, and I am excited about that. But however, we lack in this area still. I must speak to my women today as I encourage you to put your voice to work, and not only the women, the males as well, you young fellas, young people in general. We need to get out there and show the world how we feel. And so if anyone is familiar with Susan B. Anthony, you know why this issue is so important. Susan B. Anthony was a woman who fought for women's rights and was sent to jail for voting in an election without lawful right to vote. So she protested it was her right to vote as a citizen. However, the white men who were allowed to vote argued that she had no right, even after she quoted from the federal Constitution that nowhere in the Constitution does it specify a specific gender or race when it comes to matters of the Union. The Constitution uses the words such as we or the people. And so she argued that what the government was saying was that women were not people. And that's so not true. We all know that that's not true to this day. And Susan B. Anthony led a group of women, men, a lot of people. She led a group that brought awareness to the issue and also enforced action among these issues that were being oppressed on our women. And so, by the show of hands, who has voted in this room in the last election, male and females alike? See, and our numbers should be higher. So many people have fought and risked their lives in order for us to be able to have these rights and for these rights to be granted to us. And nowadays we take them for granted. How would you feel if the government revoked your right to vote? You would be pissed, right? Am I right? But how can you be upset if you haven't taken those steps to be an active member of your country? Now's the time to start taking control of your life before the government begins setting limitations on what you can do. And yes, I know there are stats out there that say that we young folks don't vote and that we young folks don't care, but that's not true. And you all know that that's not true. Even those of you who did not vote, I know you guys care what goes on in this country because this is your country, this is where you live. So I don't think the problem lies in that we don't care. I think it lies in the fact that people don't really know what they're voting for. And with that being said, I'm telling you guys to take the time to research each party, each candidate. Don't vote for someone based on their gender, their race, or their party. Make sure that you're voting because you value what they promote and because you agree on the things that they want to change or implement. This is for your country. This is the country you have to live in. This is the country that your family also has to live in, and possibly your future children if you decide to go that route. And you want to make this country a better world for not only you, but those who come after you. You don't want them to have to go through the same things that you had to go through as a young adult. Voting is definitely a privilege. It's definitely a privilege, and I think that a lot of us take it for granted and don't really realize what it's worth until it's too late. And this is why I'm encouraging you all today for this next election. Start early. Research the candidates and their platforms. See what they're talking about. See where they're going. See what they're hitting home on. Decide what things matter to you as a person, as a young adult, as a citizen. And make your voice count. Make your voice count in this next election. Tell all your friends, your family members, whoever can vote. Make sure that you educate them as well. Let them know that there are sites out here. There are so many places that you can go to find out what these candidates are talking about and what they stand for. If you don't understand something, ask somebody to help you understand. Ask somebody who's maybe looking at that candidate or anything. Like if you see someone who's possibly thinking about a candidate that you've been thinking about, ask them why they're thinking about voting for that candidate. Maybe it might be the same reasons that you're voting for them. Maybe they might add something to it, or maybe even take something back. You might not know exactly what you want out of this candidate, and maybe they know a little more than you do. So in conclusion, what I'm saying is, people, get out there and vote. Just get out there and vote. Because so many people have fought for us to be here today, to be able to speak out against the government, to be able to vote in elections. Don't make it seem like it's all a big waste. Vote. This is my group again.